welcome to the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Fizza Dasani.
I'm Paula Vegan-Allen.
I'm Zara Ali. I'm sorry, I was taking a big gulp of this Nesquik chocolate milk.
It was delicious.
That looks like a regular size bottle in your hand.
Okay, haha, I have small hands. I'm a small person. But I have like a regular grown-up woman voice.
You do.
Yeah.
You have a good voice for radio.
Thank you.
I like it.
Does that mean I have the face for radio?
I didn't say anything about your face. I said nothing about your
Thank
face.
you.
I made very sure. No, I didn't.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, sure. I'll take it.
I mean, the setup was there, but
I'm too scared to make that joke.
Yeah.
So I sneezed over the weekend and my boyfriend was there and he was like, I've never heard you sneeze before. And I'm like, you haven't? And he's like, yeah, I thought it was going to be cute, but
I was going to ask if you did the like
one sneeze.
If you did the like
no, but apparently I have a sneeze that like does not fit my stature. So he was surprised, I think, and he was like, "Oh, okay, you don't sneeze cute." I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, what now?
One sneeze.
Has he heard you fart?
Maybe in my sleep.
That's cute.
Is that something you do?
I'm sure. I mean, we all must, you know. Like, I'm pretty sure. Don't we? I mean, isn't that like a normal human thing?
I mean, I'm asleep.
I
so
fart
I
all
don't know.
the time, but I don't know.
No, but like,
I assume.
I've definitely woken up to like a barricade of pillows next to me.
That's so funny. Is that from farting or snoring?
I don't know, but like, I think it was like before I told them I was lactose intolerant.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, you really do love me. Okay.
Just like across, like from the whole top to the bottom? Or
No,
was it
it's just
from-
like this barricade, but also like
funny.
he also like, he just like takes control. Like he just commandeers the entire mattress. So like, I think we need a barricade so he just knows what his boundaries are when he's sleeping.
That'd be funny if you just started like lighting candles and like doing all this stuff.
I tend
Stop Febrezing your house.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I tend to move towards the heat, like whenever I'm asleep. So like, I think I was camping in Peru years ago with my sister, and it was like 30 degrees outside. And she
You
said
went
she woke
camping
up
with your sister?
years ago.
In
must
Peru is the big story.
You must really love each other.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Zara's when Zara goes
There were some
camping.
come to Jesus moments for sure, but
Of
we
course.
do.
When Zara goes camping, her first thing is to find where to hide the body.
Dude, I don't go camping. Who the hell
That's
does
true.
that?
She doesn't hide her own
people.
bodies.
I mean,
She has
I
somebody
don't
do
know.
that for her.
But what I
I've,
was saying
I've
was-
seen abject poverty. I don't really need to pretend to live it, you know, outdoors and shit. Like, I feel like my ancestor did the whole camping thing as a way of life, and I don't need to.
Yeah. But it was-
Sorry, not to downplay your experience with your sister in Peru.
No, I get it. It was her idea, not mine. But like, yeah, I just go towards the heat. So like, she said she woke up and I was on top of her. So I don't know. I don't know if that's commandeering, but that I think it's survival, really.
Yeah.
Did you do the like middle school sleepovers? She was
Just roll
They're
towards
like,
the
I
heat.
think Fizza likes girls.
One time after a sleepover, I woke up in my friend's mom's waterbed with no pants on.
Oh, this is a thing that I used to have.
I don't think there was any like something. I don't think it was weird, but like, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't have pants on.
But I have a thing where I take my pants off when I sleep. Like I'll
Yeah, I
be
do
sleeping and I'll take them off like while I'm sleeping. So that was a thing that I was always self-conscious about at sleepovers. I was like, this bitch is about to go pantsless. But I feel like we all grew up and realized that pants are a trap. So
Yeah.
Pants are a trap. Also, it's like hot when you're sleeping. I don't know. I don't sleep with pants.
I take my pants off and I let them be around my feet because my feet get cold, but I don't want them on my legs.
That's what socks are for.
They're like big socks for your
Dude,
feet.
get like nighttime socks. They're really good and they keep your feet moisturized
I
all night
like
long.
the space in
Ooh.
the pants.
Yeah.
Are those the ones that are a little wet?
I don't. They're
Moist.
not wet. They're moist. Okay,
We were talking about the word moist.
Oh my
earlier.
God! Someone, I don't know, listeners, whoever, someone explain to me why moist is just considered a bad word now.
Some people they don't like a word. They don't like the sound of a word because they're a bunch of pussies and they don't like how
ruined-
pussies are.
They've just ruined everything for me.
Moist is a good word.
I think so.
Moist. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good adjective.
This podcast is pro moist.
Okay,
Established.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not moist, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so. Hey, guys, we don't have a guest for this episode. It's just going to be us three.
That'd be so fun if we did.
The guest is us three.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. So we're doing like this segment thing.
Transitions, you
behind
guys.
the wall. She's
We're
lifting
great.
the curtain.
We're great at transitions.
That was our intro, right? That was our
introduction
section.
was that Zara farts in her sleep and I take my pants off. That's the intro.
And Fizza went camping with her sister and ended up on a waterbed with no pants on.
Hot secrets, just
Yeah.
juicy
I don't know.
secrets.
I don't
for you
know what
guys.
I'm not the only one who farts in my sleep. Don't
You might be.
What?
You might be in this room.
Oh my God.
I
fart in the morning.
I fart in like while I stare people in the face. I own my
I don't know.
farts.
Yeah.
I've become better about it because I think I used to hold it in all day. And now
I feel like if you held it in all day, you're so tiny that if you farted, you just like move
It'd be
4
like-
feet.
It'd be like
It'd be like propelling you.
like the movie Up.
Like we'd have to call like Boeing and tell them we found new aerospace technology. Like
oh my God. If
Have you tried it
only.
on a skateboard?
I have not.
you said, like the movie Up.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like when you get stuff later.
because it's just like I want to finish my thought and then but I put a pin in it because I'm like, okay, it affected me, but let's go back to it after. You know?
All right. Should we
I have a weird mind.
transition?
Yeah,
I
can
read
we like
books
move
backwards.
off?
It's weird.
You read books backwards?
Magazines and stuff. Not like the sentences backward, but I like to like read.
Segments?
Yeah, exactly. Like in articles and in magazines, I read them backwards.
Weird. Have Chuck Palahniuk has a book. Oh, what was it? Which one? He had one that he remixed, and it was really fun because he said like during regular books you read it from front to back, and then you know exactly when it's going to end and like when the suspense is going to happen and stuff.
Yeah.
So he has chapter. It's like at the end of a chapter, it'll be like go to chapter 43, go to chapter 18, and some of them are written backwards too. And
Oh,
so
dope.
yeah, so it's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing, but he tells you which adventure to go on, but you never know when it's going to be the end of the book because you're just like jumping from chapter to chapter.
That's so dope. Like you don't know when it's gonna end.
Yeah.
Do you know which Chuck Palahniuk story grossed everyone out? Do you know that
Haunted.
others?
No.
Okay, so like at our school, they had a reading of it, and someone shit their pants.
Yeah.
And
There's-
people passed out.
This was my
too.
favorite book in like 6th grade.
Oh my God.
I'm not even
what?
kidding.
Is it really
It's this-
like scary?
No, okay. It's Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. No one ever knows how to say his last name.
I just said Palahniuk.
I know,
but
I don't know.
whatever.
But it's a series. So it's a story about all these people in like this hotel. This is from what I remember from like elementary school. Series of people in this hotel, and it goes into their story together, but also their backstories, and they're all like all of his characters just like horrible people, and he makes you empathize with them and stuff. But there's this one story about how this person came to be like injured in a way, and when he reads it, people like cry and puke and pass out.
Shit themselves.
And
someone shit themselves
What
at our
the
school.
hell?
And this book was like my favorite book in
my
like
God.
6th grade, and like I've loved him because he makes people so like gross and human, but he makes you like them. And like that.
So
was
you
one
have
of
a
those.
visceral reaction from reading this.
I didn't have as much of a visceral reaction as other people did, but it's like known to make people pass out. and
What
stuff.
drew you to the book at that age?
I don't know which of his books I read first, but he's written so many,
Yeah.
and I think I might have just like honestly just picked. I was always reading because I didn't get along with people. Like
can't
I was
talk back.
I was like the outcast of my school, so like I would just like read,
Yeah.
then like hide from my parents and like read and shit like everywhere. Not read and shit, but some people did that.
I mean, you can read and shit. Why not?
Well, oh yeah, I did. I used to hide in the bathroom and like read on the toilet for like 3 hours.
Zara, you can fart and read.
She doesn't
I mean,
like
I-
this.
I mean, don't we all read and shit like our phones in the morning?
Yeah,
Like, isn't that
that's
like
how
a
I-
normal thing?
What
If
did
I've
I-
seen your Instagram story, that's how I've seen it.
What weird stuff did I read when I was little? I read, I was interested in Nietzsche when I was in like 4th grade.
Really?
I don't even know how I got my hands on that.
Wow.
But I was there was like a period of time, I think, between
I was
like,
reading The Babysitter's Club.
I did read The Babysitter's Club as well.
And what were the American
I like
Girls?
Boxcar Children. I like that.
I didn't read Boxcar. I read, what was the American Girls? Felicity. I like Felicity.
Oh,
I
which
read some of
American
those.
Girls dolls did you guys have? I had
I
Samantha.
had Felicity.
I didn't have them.
They only had white girls at that time.
Yeah.
I thought there was one black girl.
Oh, they added.
just got her.
they added
like
her after.
2-3 years ago.
No, she
There
was.
was a black girl?
There was,
there
but she
was.
came after like the first 6, 7. classic,
okay.
Yeah. Addie, I think her name was.
I think I knew that she was the one I was supposed to empathize with, but I wasn't super into that. I also, in 7th grade, I read like Queen and Roots, like all of it by Alex Haley.
Yeah.
And that really like shaped my mind about a lot of stuff.
Wow.
You know which book struck me? It was so tragic, but it was like Madame Bovary. Like, I don't know why I could relate to her, but she was just like this unhappy woman. Oh, that's why. There we go. Yeah.
That's funny. I just remember reading a lot of R.L. Stein.
Dude,
Like,
that shit was fire.
I read all the Fear Street books, all the Goosebumps books.
That was so good.
Yeah, those were all fun. And then, I don't know, I started reading 17 magazine and then it went downhill from there.
Those
I think that's what happened. Yeah, it just went downhill from there. I don't know, because like you start reading. I mean, it's entertaining, but you're also not like learning or like really challenging your mind. You're just retaining like knowledge.
I think a lot of those books, the reason that they were interesting was because they taught us language. They taught us a lot of vocabulary and like context and stuff.
Yeah.
And they taught us like how stories are supposed to be told.
Mm-hmm.
So those I think were the reasons for why they were so, but they were still fiction. Like they were still stories. So like reading 17 magazine isn't that bad, you know.
At least you're reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was reading like, you know, pop culture stuff and I don't know. I still read that stuff because for me it's like a guilty pleasure now. Like I get Cosmo at home, but like it's
Hot
like
gossip.
how am I supposed to turn my dude on now? Okay, I'm not doing this, but okay.
And it's
like what am I supposed to do? Yeah, but
speaking of using the mind, should we move into our segments?
these are great transitions today. All right, yeah, let's start
segment 1.
We're numbering our segments
This
now?
is very formal.
I love this. I thought we were going to say it together. Anyway, so
But it says, it does say segment 1. Okay.
yeah. So I'm thinking we can do like
you
a
pass
mental.
the toilet paper.
Oh, we had a Nesquik.
Did you fart?
No, chocolate milk.
Oh, you farted
that's what
chocolate?
that is.
I told you not to have dairy.
Stop it.
God, Zara.
Stop.
So let's have a mental and emotional health check-in because, like, I spent most of my life just trying to get sane, and that's all I know how to talk about. That's not true.
You're sane.
Yeah. You know, I want to be.
You're saner than you appear on stage.
Yeah,
but I think that's like
I mean, if I was how I
common.
appeared on stage, because that's sort of like, you know, that's like the fucking artistic voice. If I walked around like that, I wouldn't be able to hold down a job. But it comes like, you know, it's sort of just an expression of what's really there. Like I've been stressed.
Yeah.
I've been stressed. I feel like
That's your emotional state right now, stressed?
You know, I think there's always like a perpetual like level of like just this baseline anxiety. But life's good. Life's actually really good. But like, you know, I feel like as it expands,
good
I'm
band
super
name.
triggered.
Baseline anxiety.
That is dope. Look at that.
Good band
Is that
name.
going to be our title?
Yeah. Baseline anxiety. But I don't know. Like, it's just like we're basically doing a startup right now, you know, and that's just there's a lot of growing pains. I've never like run a legal business, so this is just
I don't think any of us realized. I mean, these growing pains, like you said, right? Like I don't think anyone knew what this would turn into when we started to just like produce a comedy show, which we've all done before.
Yeah.
You know, but this is a brand and it's we're touring. We're, you know, selling out shows in different cities around the country. I mean, it's getting into festivals. It's
in each other's faces all the time. Like,
but this is common. Like when there's success, there's also, you know, like other hurdles you have to get over.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess it's just like those people think like, oh, they see people get famous and like, oh, I want that. But it's just like there's all these other challenges that you can't even fathom, I think, until you experience them. Just like, I don't know. It's fuck. Where was I? It's I'm not around. I haven't been around people this much. Okay, I'm going to rephrase. No, I'm not. Okay, I should have made a better. I didn't do this segment shit right. Guys, I hate segments.
This is how you know we don't edit.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it's been stressful, but life's good. I don't know how, like, it's just going to get more busier. It's going to get busier and busier. So it's just like, well, how do we make this work, you know? And I think for me, it is... You know what? Since I got back from Mecca, it's just like I haven't been like the most stable. which is funny because it's just like my parents sort of brought me there to center me, and I've just sort of like I don't really meditate anymore, which I would love to. I don't like.
Do you feel like you haven't gone back to whatever your routine was before? Was Mecca such a life-changing experience for you that you're having a hard time going back to your old life?
No, I think what happened is that empty ritual means even less to me than it did before. So like I used to have sort of like, oh, I have to meditate or I have to do these affirmations by a certain time in the morning. I have to do all this. I take an hour for self-care. And now I'm just like, in a way, it's sort of freeing because I'm just like, I don't need to do that. Like if I want to do it, I can, but I don't need to. It was almost like OCD in a way. So it was just the computer die.
Yeah, no, it's coming back up. It just falls asleep.
Yeah.
Because it's not being charged.
But how are you guys doing?
I'm okay. I mean, I hate when people say that. I'm okay. You say I'm okay when you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm a lot of things. I would say I'm happy in some areas of my life, and then other areas of my life, I'm in a constant state of just overwhelmed. So yeah, stressed for sure. Feeling inadequate because I'm never able to get through my to-do list. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then today I had a really weird experience with, I've complained about this or vented about this on the podcast before, but right now I'm working with like a stereotypical Indian uncle. You know what I'm talking about, right? And yeah, like this is my first time really working with someone who's like completely different, background, like corporate wise and stuff. And it's been interesting because there have been times where, he's kind of treated me like, I could sense the like, why are you here type of thing, or like
he was dismissive, right? Didn't he put his hand in your face one time?
He did.
He shush you.
He did. He like did one of these, like he put his finger in my face,
not the index finger. Oh.
And so today I talked to him about it, and I think he wasn't aware of what he was doing. So it like I felt a little like, all right, there's progress here because he's becoming more self-aware. Like he's not doing it maliciously. And then today, another incident happened where he was basically like waving emotion at me, like, are you taking notes? Like he did one.
Is he your boss?
Like, no,
he's just like
no, he's just someone. So he's like the client, right? So he's like someone I have to work with.
He's the client.
Like I don't like. He's not the guy that like signs my paychecks or like determines my future there, but like he's someone I need to collaborate with. And it's like, if you're treating me like shit, why? Like what would make me want to work with you? So I'm feeling like not valued as a human.
That's interesting because this sort of goes back to the mental health part of like building resentment, because if you don't address something, you're just going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone stuck a finger in my face and I didn't say anything, like I'd probably, if I didn't know how to deal with resentment, that shit would piss me off for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Every time I thought about that guy. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about saying anything to him?
I did. I said something like, it's been 2 months now, and I thought, and we haven't been in like similar situations where he would have the opportunity to like showcase that he's changing or working on it. And this was like one of the first times where we've been back in this state, and it's a similar behavior, just in a slightly different form. And it's it's just like
he can't help himself.
He can't help himself. He has to literally retrain, I don't know, decades of conditioning.
Does the uncle want to come on the podcast?
No. I don't even think he like. I don't think he cares. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How about you? How's it going?
Not good. Been stressed about everything.
Just like how everyone in LA is just stressed.
Yep. Don't have a good sense of self or self-worth. Just doing things to do them. And that's about it. Just kind of going through the motions, I think, right now.
Is there like, I mean, I found that like I can sort of gauge what my state is by how I'm like self-medicating, and not just like, it's not necessarily just like alcohol or drugs. I mean, I can self-medicate with work, lose myself in work. I feel like
That's usually what I do.
Yeah.
It's hard because I'm like always busy. So I do feel like I have the attitude of fuck this, I'm just going to get work done.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's funny because like whenever there's issues between us or whatever, I'm still like, fuck this, I'm just going to work on facial recognition, which is not like a rebellion. It's like helping us. But I literally have those thoughts sometimes where I'm just like, fuck this, I'm going to contribute. Like it doesn't, it's like a weird contradiction, but.
I mean, like, there's worse coping than like being productive, you know? But it's just like, what are we covering up? Like, what's going on? Like, what am I trying to avoid feeling? Because that's what it is, really. Like, sometimes if I find myself like thinking, oh, I want to smoke weed, it's just like, oh, what am I trying not to feel right now? So, you know, I don't know. I used to like, in therapy, it used to be just so hard. I had such a little tolerance for feeling uncomfortable feelings. Like I would feel like my immune system was dropping and I was about to get sick if I let myself go there.
I mean, I don't have like go ahead.
I was just gonna say like not so much anymore. I've built a tolerance after years of therapy, but like I remember just feeling like I can't physically do this.
I don't feel that because I felt like a lot of. I mean, I'm sure in modes I feel that, but like. I've had therapy for a long time and I've had a lot of growth in like a difficult way in relationships and stuff. I'm never like, I seek that out in therapy. That's why I go to therapy. I'm like, I need to know, like I'm with right now a therapist who makes me uncomfortable and I'm keeping her for that reason.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't allow me to like victimize myself, which is a habit that I fall into. But I think right now I just like, I don't have a good sense of self and I haven't had, it's been like eroding for a few months. And so because of that, it's like, it's really hard to just like do things and know why you're doing them if you're not yourself. So I think that's like what I'm going through right now. And I think it's like the work is like a coping mechanism, but it's like, I have to do the work to get through this moment so that I can think about it at this appropriate time.
Yeah.
Because we're so scheduled that I'm like, I know I can't think about this right now. So I'm going to like just work instead. Like if I stay up because of anxiety and like stress. And so I just like work through that because I'm like, I either need to sleep or get work done tonight. Yeah. And then maybe on this day at this hour, I'll just like sit in bed and think about it.
So it's scheduled.
Yeah, because my life is like, it generally feels like it's falling apart when I'm on top of my shit. So, you know what I mean? Like when I'm still like working my hardest and feeling my best, I'm still not getting stuff done fast enough for what my life is, which I think Zara also like, you feel that pressure a lot too.
I always feel like my life is in shambles and I have no idea what's going on, but I mean, I don't look like it. So people are like, oh, you're fine. I'm like, I'm not.
Her nails are always manicured.
I always get like, I'm like when people introduce me as they're like, I don't know how she's doing her PhD in comedy, coming to the stage. And I'm like, don't say that because I already feel like guilt and stress from like my PhD. And so when people are like, no, I'm sure you're doing great. It's like, you don't know. I'm not doing great. Like, don't make that assumption about, I mean, I know what they're saying, but it's like, nope, this just makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
So just like even mention of it.
I mean, just people, have the assumption that I'm like killing it. And it's the imposter syndrome thing, but it's also like reality. It's like sometimes people just aren't killing it, you know? So going like, oh, I'm sure you'll be fine. They're not necessarily fine.
I mean, there's different definitions of killing it, right? Like I think to any outside person and also like here in it with you, like I think you're killing it, you know? But if you yourself, you have, I don't know, different expectations for yourself. So I don't know. I'm the same way where I always have higher expectations for myself and I'm never able to meet that.
You know, it's interesting because I think this sort of ties back into like this self-value, self-love and being enough. Because like, I mean, and I still struggle with this, but until like I say like the last year or so, like all of my life, it doesn't matter how much any kind of recognition I got outside of myself was never enough. Nothing was enough. I just sort of had to learn to be at peace with the moment, everything I have in the moment. And then I feel like I was able to like enjoy good shit. Otherwise, like it just, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to fucking follow my dreams and then not even enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what was happening. So I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't want to be miserable anymore. I think that's what it was. And to me, happiness in a way does feel like a choice and a perspective. I mean, as someone who is medicated for clinical depression and mood instability, I do feel like happiness is a choice, even if it's taking my meds and meditate. I don't know.
I have always advocated for people to get therapy, get meds, like whatever they need to like stabilize. But I have been recommended meds before and I haven't done it myself. And that's something that I might need to reckon with because I've always been like, whenever my therapist is like, I think you're depressed, I think you need meds, I'm like, I'm too busy to get fat right now because I think I'm
Meds
like,
don't make it depends.
I know.
Yeah.
It's all I know
Yeah.
all of this logically,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
risk of the side effect. I was literally like applying to grad schools, performing in a hip hop festival, and trying to like get this giant project done for work. Like
So
3 years
you've
ago.
always been
So,
this
like-
person where you overschedule yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. My parents
Yeah.
hated it in high school and
Yeah.
shit. They like it's just I think when I did it as a kid, I was trying to get the fuck out of my house. Like I joined every club to stay out of my house.
Oh yeah, I was the same way.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I've always been overscheduled.
Yeah.
Like my whole life.
It's both
Yeah.
when I'm busiest, I'm like there are peaks where I'm like the happiest or like the most depressed because I do that thing where I throw myself into work. So if I'm working a lot, it could just be because I'm super depressed.
Yeah.
So then people think that you're killing it and you're fine and you're like everything's gray.
Yeah. It's like you're kind of distracting yourself from your thoughts.
Yeah, or you're just like, and the other thing is, I talked to my therapist before about this, and I've talked to you guys a little bit about, like, I've had a lot of friends that have committed suicide and stuff, and for me that, because they did that, that was, like, never an out for me. Because I think once you see it happen, you're either convinced to do it or you realize the aftermath and you can't. And so my therapist was always like, there usually people have an out and sometimes it's suicide. For her, it was like driving to the beach somewhere and opening up a store or whatever. And she was like, you need to find your out. And I don't feel like I've found like just the idea of an escape that will give you comfort, basically. And I don't think I ever found that. So I'm literally just like, well, I can't kill myself, so I guess I'll keep working. And like that's like my attitude that I've settled into. And that's just how I cope now. Like I don't know what my escape is. Like
Do you know like sort of where the discomfort and like might stem from?
what discomfort?
The one that's pushing you to work.
Do you mean like depression?
Yeah, the emotional discomfort. That you know you're trying to self-medicate.
I mean, I think it's depression, and I get it like every few years. I think the last 2 years it's actually been more frequent. So that's something that I'm concerned about and like have been kind of monitoring because it used to
Comedy
happen.
is very good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like in the beginning,
Yeah.
I think, because you're on stage and you're not having the most stellar, because you're still like growing and learning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all are every day, but I would say like my depression kicked in more like my first year in comedy.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just gets stabilized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I was just gonna say I was diagnosed with depression in 3rd grade, but I felt mine got better with comedy.
Yeah.
It got well, I mean, not my anxiety. Anxiety probably went through the roof, but depression got better with the comedy. I don't know if it's because just having some outlet was helpful.
I feel more stable emotionally. Like I feel like more aware and therefore like more angry because we're just observing like our lives and like our interactions and stuff. But because of that outlet, I feel like less likely to like lash out. Like I feel more rational than I ever have been before. And part of that is because I had years of therapy where I was like talking about my relationships with my family and with my like romantic partner and stuff.
Did your parents send you to therapy as a child?
Fuck no, they don't like therapy.
Yeah. My mom took me to a therapist in 3rd grade. The therapist decided I need to set a boundary, and she said, okay, well, let's buy a lock for your room. My mom never took me back to that therapist ever again.
Wow.
Dude, they wouldn't let me have locks in my room either. And I was right next to my parents' bedroom.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
My mom walked in my room when I was changing and she yelled at me for not wearing pants. Like, it's just like, where are the boundaries?
That's shit my parents would do. They would like come in and then yell at me for things that like they for sure did not make sense. Like one time
you weren't supposed to see this shit.
they came in as an adult like a few years ago. They made me share a hotel room with like me and my boyfriend at the time share a hotel room with my brother, even though we'd gotten our own. They like had us cancel it out of the pressure. And then the hotel room was right next to theirs. And then they had a key and didn't tell us.
To your room?
God.
To our room. They had a key and my mom walks in
my
while I'm
God.
in the shower and she screams at me because my passport was out. She's like, what if someone comes in here? And I'm like, you're the intruder.
Oh
like
my
you
goodness.
were the intruder, Mom.
I feel like parents just like to yell. You know, like they just need a reason to
Are we the
like.
scapegoat?
I think so. I think
We're pissed about something, so
I'm-
let's beat up on the kids verbally?
honestly, yeah, and also I think if they feel like they need to do some sort of disciplinary thing, you know, like at every
They
moment.
just walk in a room, they're like screaming about something and
Yeah.
walk out.
She was
Yeah,
looking for
basically.
something to
Yeah.
criticize.
Yeah,
Like she was
exactly.
going in there and like, okay, what's wrong in this situation?
Which is how I view myself a lot.
Critical.
Yeah. So I when I look at it, I don't look at like, oh, like this is something I've accomplished. It's like, oh, I get off stage and I'm like, what did I fuck up? Which is why I come to you and I'm like, is that okay? And you're like, you're insane.
Yeah, because she'll have a great set and she'll
Yeah.
look so sad.
Yeah.
I just fucking hate it,
Like,
dude.
what?
I don't know.
God.
I'm like, it's not good enough. Literally, I walk off stage, I'm like, it's not good enough.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So I mean, that stems from within. You know, that's like an internal thing. I mean, you know that, but I mean, I don't know. Are we ever gonna feel good enough?
Probably not.
Because intellectually, it's just like, you know, they're not dumb. You can sort of see like, oh, you know, I've been doing stuff, making stuff, building stuff, but it's just like, what's gonna fill that perceived hole? You know?
Dick.
Yeah, there it is.
No.
How big?
I'm
No.
kidding. But it would help. Listeners,
No,
no, I'm kidding.
it
don't,
helps.
Don't message me.
It helps, but it
Slide in
doesn't.
peace DMs.
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't. Because like, I don't know. I was gonna go into it.
Don't like go.
I was just thinking about what you were saying about like just sort of hyper focusing on what's wrong with the situation. And I had this weird epiphany in Peru with my sister. We were walking and there was just like a pile of goat shit everywhere on the path.
I was gonna be like,
And it was
Ghost
like,
shit?
ghost shit.
That is
like,
awesome.
we can't have one conversation
Without ghosts.
I know.
Oh man.
so there's like, yeah, goat shit everywhere. And
Got
like,
it.
I just kept focusing on what was wrong. Like like when I was walking, I couldn't stop looking at the goat shit. I was like, how do I not step on goat shit? And all I would focus on is the goat shit. But like, then I had this epiphany after walking for 2 days in fucking uncomfortable ass weather that like, oh, what if I focus on the not shit? And it was so much easier to walk because it was like I was looking at the shit that was right. So I was like, oh, that's deep.
I literally walked in here and walked onto dog shit and literally was like, well, this is the perfect button to my 2 weeks. Like, I had to go outside before the podcast and push it like out of my shoe with
Oh
a
my
stick.
God.
Literally, this is right before walking in here. I was like, this is perfect. Very
People,
emblematic.
Curb your dog.
I was in the middle of the sidewalk.
Unbelievable.
Okay, do we...
And there was all this clean sidewalk.
There was all
around
this
it.
clean sidewalk, and I was a millennial, and I was staring at my phone, and I walked through dog shit. This is our political climate, anyways.
Stop staring at your phone.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, that was heavy.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay.
No, in a good way. That was meaty. Segment number 2.
Oh my god,
Segment number 2. Can we stop like numbering these?
I kind of like how happy she is when she does it.
Segment number 2. Okay. So we're calling this the Man Crush. Man Crush Monday. It is Monday. We're recording this on a Monday, so I'm going to call it Man Crush Monday. But basically, Man Crush Corner. And for those who didn't listen to our last episode we did with the three of us, I created this segment as a challenge to myself because I'm such a big man hater. And this segment,
Man hater.
yeah, seriously. But this segment forces me to find men who do good in the world. And there are some of you. And I really do think all of you are capable of being good men. You should just, do it. And so
I think that's worse if they're capable in choosing not to.
well, exactly. I think that's exactly what it is. Our world is full of men who are capable of being good men, but they choose to, you know.
So you think everyone has hope?
I think everybody has hope, unless you have the what was it that we were talking about earlier? Unless you have the serial killer gene,
Oh yeah.
or like the violence gene.
Even then, there's like things that you can do to like prevent that.
Yeah. So, guys, be better people. Be a better man. Like our man crush today. His name is Dalton Schaefer. Dalton Schaefer is the manager of Steve's Pizza in Battle Creek, Michigan. So Dalton he did this amazing thing where this family, this husband and wife, the husband was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And they used to go to Steve's Pizza for date night and they love Steve's Pizza, but they moved to Indianapolis, so farther away, like about like a 2-3 hour drive away. And everybody in this couple's family knew how obsessed they were with this pizza at Steve's Pizza. So as part of like a farewell thing, when the husband, who was terminally ill of cancer, when he was in hospice, they were getting, all the family, the relatives, all the places they used to frequent to like send like a nice like card, like a nice greeting, like a feel good thing. So the father-in-law of the guy who had cancer, the wife's dad, called Steve's Pizza and was like, "Hey, Richard Morgan, who's a cancer patient, like Richard was a big fan of yours. He loved your pizza. Could you guys just send a card or something?" So Dalton Schaefer had picked up the phone then and was like, "All right, well, what toppings did he like on his pizza?" And so he made like several pies of pizza of his like favorite toppings and everything, drove 3 hours, 230 miles to Indianapolis, where this family had moved to.
Was the pizza warm?
Yeah, did
I'm
get
sure
their
at
money
some
back?
point they
'Cause
warmed
that
up the
wasn't
pizza,
30
but
minutes. Oh yeah, it wasn't under 30
But yeah,
minutes.
he showed up to Richard and Julie Morgan's house in Battle Creek and delivered this pizza at 2:40 a.m. after closing down Steve's Pizza for the night.
That's
and
so sweet.
Yeah, so manager of Steve's Pizza, Dalton Schaefer, thank you for being an amazing man and having a heart of gold, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That pizza looks good.
it does.
Damn.
I don't know.
Where's that pizza?
This is in
Battle Creek.
Michigan.
That's like that pizza had a makeup artist.
It's
Look at
in-
that. Look at this. Delicious.
I always wanted the people who took pictures of food to take my headshots.
They're so
They're really good at
It's
it.
way better than what's in the box.
They're so good.
And
That's the
what I wanna
job.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a food makeup artist.
Foodies are great at taking pictures. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to Dalton Schaefer from driving from Battle Creek, Michigan to Indianapolis to.
Oh, he's a teenager.
He's a teenager. He's 19.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So don't change. And yeah,
Don't change.
Don't
I mean,
change.
grow, evolve.
yeah,
But
evolve. But
Be good.
yeah.
You don't have to.
That's
have to
my
end
man
it
crush.
with
Thank you.
All right.
At least he's legal. So good job, Zara.
Yeah. If anyone's looking for a great boyfriend, I think Dalton would be really good at it. In Battle Creek, Michigan.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say segment.
Oh,
3.
segment.
Oh, segment number 3. Sorry. Oh,
yes,
I was
thank
waiting for
you.
Chris.
We're wonderful
Segment
at
number 3.
Segment number 3, climate change. Yes, bitches, we're going to talk about sad shit. Okay. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released a report in October of 2018, just like a week or two ago. And they are the UN's group of scientists that were commissioned by the world leaders under the Paris Agreement, which was an agreement created within the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. And it deals with greenhouse gas emissions, mitigation, adaptation, and how that's going to affect us financially in 2020, the Paris Agreement, which we pulled out of because America hates the world. So basically, a lot of people are talking about this right now because it was a very alarming report that came back. And it said that if greenhouse gas emissions, and greenhouse gases are gases that contribute to the warming of the planet because they allow for radiation to be absorbed by the atmosphere rather than to bounce off and be released. So basically, they say if greenhouse gas emissions continue at the current rate that they are, our atmosphere will warm up by 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. So that means before we had the Industrial Revolution, before we were all driving cars and everything. And this is by 2040. They said like between 2030 and 2052.
So why this is globally?
This is globally.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, that's a significant increase on a global level.
That is a significant increase on a global level. If you look at, we might post some pictures from different resources. I was looking at this one picture on NASA's website, and it showed how there have been like 7 cycles up and down of the temperature over, I don't know how many years in the past. And then it looks at like where carbon emissions are now, and it's like off the ground, like it's crazy high now in the last like 50 years. Like it's clearly out of the cycle. So this increase is so big because in the past they were kind of theoretically putting together information on like if there was a 3.6 degree increase, you know, what would happen? And then they were like, there is going to be a 2.7 degree increase, and there are going to be all these terrible things that we thought would happen with a 3.6 one. They're going to happen with a 2.7.
Oh wow. So
the damages that they estimate by 2040, if this does happen, which unless there are significant changes in our policy, it will, is $54 trillion, which is an amount I cannot comprehend. And if it rises and stays there, if it rises the 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit and stays there until the year 2100, if it doesn't drop back down, then there will be, quote, some impacts may be long-lasting or irreversible, such as the loss of some ecosystems. And that means an increase in warming, increased precipitation in some areas, increased drought. This can affect health, livelihood, food security, water supply, human security, and economic growth.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like because some people would hear like, okay, 2.7 degrees, what's the big deal? But maybe like, are there some tangible effects that you could describe? Like everyone's seen the polar bear pictures.
Yeah. So so when I say like precipitation increase and stuff, like the storms that we've been having the last year and the fires and
all the hurricanes, on the East Coast.
Yeah, the hurricanes. Those are larger and more frequent. So that's
more catastrophic.
More catastrophic.
Hurricanes feed off warm air.
Yeah. So there's going to be like an increase in these precipitations in some areas. In California, we've had the drought and the fires. That stuff's going to increase. Basically, millions of people are going to have to evacuate from the tropics. And like we've seen with war, when people evacuate from one area to another, there's like an increase in like xenophobia and all these other political implications.
So basically, people will become refugees of climate change.
It's going to be Waterworld, bitches, and it's not going to be fun. So that's like the terrifying thing. There are ways to mitigate this, but that's where like our policymakers really have to like play a role, right? There are things that you can do, like increase prices on carbon dioxide. Like you can tax it so that people don't use it as much. But they were saying that maybe there will be a change if you increase it to like $27,000 per ton by the year 2100. Like maybe people will change their use of it. But right now it's like $3.50 in Quebec and like 4 to 30 euros in the EU. And the US doesn't even tax it. Like, and there are some states that do and are working on it. But actually in the US, corporations are kind of doing internal price checks. Like they're kind of
check their emissions.
Yeah, they're kind of holding themselves accountable. But it's like when ExxonMobil charges like $60 per ton and they're releasing 127 million tons in 2013, like it's not offsetting it enough. You know what I mean?
Is there not a shift to greener technology? I mean, just even with something like cars.
I mean, there is. Like, there definitely has been improvements, but like what concerns me the most is everything that's happening with the Trump administration right now, right? Like, we pulled out of the Paris Agreement. So we pulled out of saying that we are going to try and work on this by 2020.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trump's administration doesn't believe in climate change, right? They're still fighting it.
Yeah, the people like in charge of like the EPA and stuff, like all of the censorship that they had early on, like that's still an issue.
Is the EPA still there? They gutted it,
it's
right?
literally like what was in Harry Potter, like the Ministry of Magic and all, they were all like evil. It's literally, it feels like that right now, because I'm going to talk about some other things later that has to do with government policy and stuff, but it definitely like it really felt like the people in charge of each thing like hated the thing they were in charge of.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so this is why we have to like vote, and we have to like care about people who care about, or like elect people who care about the environment, because this is like a legitimate thing that we could be working on.
Yeah, and this is directly affecting us in our lifetime.
Yeah. Like, and you know, we're going to have these storms. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, like all of these places, the government isn't stepping in to help us. So we have to shift what the government is, and also like take store of our lives and what we've done to contribute. I know that like I travel a lot and I fly on planes a lot, and there are things, once I have any money, there are things you can buy to like offset that, like how many miles you travel by plane, like a carbon emissions like kind of balance or whatever.
So you just track it then.
You like track it, but they're like, it's kind of like a stock. I don't know. I forget the word for it, but it's like a stocks thing where you're like, oh, I traveled this much. I want to like offset it. I'm going to pay this much money. So
is there an app or something to track what your carbon emission is?
I'm not sure,
depending on like how much you drive, how much you travel.
There probably is.
And then what can you do to reduce your carbon footprint?
Yeah. It's the thing that I was describing like is to decrease your carbon footprint in your lifetime. The number one thing you can do to decrease your carbon footprint is to not have children.
Done. Sold.
Yeah.
Or also, I've heard don't eat meat.
Yeah, also the methane from the cows, and also like producing them and all of the costs that go into that.
Yeah.
That's also helpful. But yeah, that's why like I was reading the article, and like they had levels where, so there are all these, it was kind of amazing because there were scientists from like, it lists what countries they're from, and you're like, oh, this is like everybody. But then they had like these like levels of confidence that they had in the claims that they make. And at the end of like every phrase, they would put like low, medium, high, very low. All of the claims that they had, except for one statement about the difference in precipitation if it is 1.5 degrees versus 2 degrees, or like the trade-offs versus like the good stuff. Like it was basically most of their statements. I literally like was searching for low confidence. There was like no low confidence. Like they're very confident about these findings. Like all of these scientists from all over the world. Yeah. So it's like, just don't be fooled by like my propaganda. I went to the New York Times article that talked about it, but then I went directly to the article that they put together for policymakers, and they have like longer versions of them too. You can go read it on the website. You can see exactly what they're saying. You can see the graphs for it, and like the predictions of what will happen if we do this versus this, and like how to mitigate. Like they have plans for like how to mitigate. It's just going to take policymakers. Like that's why they said it was very unlikely for us to mitigate. It's literally because of the gatekeepers, the policymakers. So please vote. Yeah. So that's my climate change thing.
Segment.
Thank you for that.
Segment 4.
Okay.
Zara's second segment.
Okay. Can we stop numbering these?
Segment D.
All right. Okay, sure.
Segment purple.
All right, fine. So all right. So I've said my other segment was a man crush. So I think I'm like reversing all the way back, doing a 180.
The pendulum swinging.
Yes. And basically, so I do this thing on my Instagram. I call it the Guide for Guys. It's
my favorite.
Yeah. So basically, at some point, I'm just going to read off this now. So I do this because my interactions with straight identifying males over my lifetime inspired me to help the clueless idiots of men out there. So I started dropping daily tips or weekly tips on how the men out there should interact with women. And these are all based on, personal experiences I've had or common complaints or venting I've heard from other girlfriends from, the men that they're dating, the men that they're coworkers, basically any interaction that we have with men. You know, and I just wanted to really, I wouldn't say, I don't want to publicly shame men, but I think.
Do you want to educate them?
I want to educate them. Like, hey, like, dude, your people are doing this. So, I mean, this is, it's an epidemic of just douchebaggery. So,
I mean, if they're never called on and they don't know they're doing it, how are they going to stop?
Yeah. So, and it's happened time and time again. So, all the tips that I'm putting out there, it's because it's happened so much, and I just want it out there.
Yeah, and I think like when guys get offended because they're like, I just asked you this innocent question or whatever, and they don't see it from our side where we get like an onslaught of that same condescending question, whatever.
Yeah.
And the reason you're putting together is because it happens so much.
Yeah, it happens so freaking much, and so I have a list of them. I'm probably just gonna give you like my top 5.
Yes,
I don't know. At some point, just tell me when to stop. But there's quite a few. So tip number 1 of my guide for guys: never offer a woman your unfinished glass of Hennessy, especially not at the club, especially not a woman who doesn't know you.
But doesn't alcohol kill germs?
That is not how that works. but also, my nerd friends also try to use that excuse.
Yeah,
it's convenient, right?
Yeah, it's totally convenient.
But it's like, guys, if it's last call or you didn't succeed at the party, don't offer a woman on your way out like, hey, you want to have my drink? Let's be friends. Let's fuck. Like, just you lost. You lost that night. It wasn't a successful night in terms of like finding.
Take
a woman,
the L.
Take the L. Yeah, take the L and move on.
But also, we're like constantly afraid you're going to fucking roofie us.
Exactly.
So like, we're not going to drink it.
We're not taking your drink. We're not, especially your unfinished glass of Hennessy or whatever.
Get us a closed bottle of wine.
with the protective label on it, like they do in medicine bottles. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
This bottle of wine hasn't been tampered with.
Mm-hmm. Here's another tip, and this is across the board for coworkers, husbands, brothers, significant others, everything. Never tell a woman she looks tired.
Dude,
oh my God.
How have they not learned yet?
There is nothing a woman can do at that moment to fix it. You know, if it bothers you that we look tired, look away.
But also, it's just like, given that we have to look good all the time, it's insulting. And like, yeah, we're fucking tired because you guys are exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like, also, who says that? Because it's just like, if someone looks tired, they probably feel tired. So it's like, oh, I know. It's just like,
oh my God.
Like, someone saying like, oh, you're, criticizing, like, I don't know, physical quality. If it's like, well, I know that. I have a fucking mirror.
I'm just gonna say you look sexist after.
Yeah. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll just say, well, I look better than you.
Yeah.
You know, I've had this thing where like I come into the office at like 9 a.m. I was trying to meet a deadline for work the day before, and then I did comedy all night, and then I ended up not sleeping, maybe like 3 hours. I walk in and they're like, oh, you look tired. Like, really, fucker?
Cool. Are you going to offer me like a nap pod at work?
Yeah, exactly.
No? Then why point it out?
Yeah.
And would they say that to the dude next to you who probably looks equally tired? That's
exactly. I don't think guys get told they look tired as much as women do.
Because the standard for us is to look like perfect. So why do we have under eye bags? We are supposed to use concealer, right? They're used to, so there's just these stupid expectations that,
Go ahead.
That we don't get tired and we don't fart.
I think, can we stop talking about farting? I think
no farting, no segment, numbers. Zara doesn't like numbers.
I like numbers.
Wait, I wanted to say it's representing where I like my school. It actually was the opposite, where we would make fun of women for dressing up and wearing makeup, and I was guilty of this too. Even women that were like much smarter than me, worked much harder, that had their shit together. It was like this association of like, you're not working hard enough if you don't look like shit. Like people, like professors and stuff liked it if we like slept in lab and stuff because it showed that we were like working really hard. Yeah. So you never win.
Yeah, you can't. You can't ever win. I mean, I'm on the side of like, if you can look good that day, great. If you can't, fine. Like, I do what's right for you. You know,
that's actually a really interesting culture.
Yeah.
That's just like you guys are students, and they'd encourage you to.
It's nerd culture, like it's within, especially like computer science. Like every field has kind of like a different way that they look. Like with computer science and stuff, they're the dudes with the graphic tees who don't care about like what they look like or whatever. And now they're kind of like with the tech culture, they're like cleaning up or whatever. But it's like it definitely was like a valued thing. Like the more exhausted you look.
So if someone said you look tired, that'd be a compliment.
I mean, well,
like you must be working hard.
Yeah.
But like but in Hollywood, when people say that shit,
or this is like, even in like corporate life. If I look tired, it's like, what? Were you out partying? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I wish. I wish.
But it was like, it was too much. It was like valuing suffering over like actual work.
Well, then that translates into corporate life. Or I remember on Wall Street, like I was interning at Goldman, and I would like come in the morning, and there's like guys on the trading floor and like around the office that like just slept under their desk they took a nap. And it's like, oh, you look disheveled and you look like you haven't gone home. And that's like, oh, he's working hard or she's working hard.
When I would, if your professor saw you in the same clothes, they were like secretly happy that you were still working.
Yeah.
And I've slept in labs so many times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I had a corporate job in film finance and production, and I would average like sometimes I'd be at the office because we were making international phone calls. I'd be there till like 3 a.m, but then I'd have to be back at the office by 7. So I'd have to like, go home, take a nap, and come back. That's not sustainable.
No, it's not.
And I look
ridiculous.
really tired.
Yeah.
Actually, I was younger, so, not as tired as I look today, but,
All right. So, guys, don't tell us we look tired, like ever.
Unless you're in nerd culture. And then
you don't even need to do it then. Just be like, you're smart. You're smart and you work hard.
Why not just be direct, right? Like, you look tired.
Let's not talk about appearance anymore.
Yeah, let's just not. So some other tips, and you would think this is common sense, but I had to say it and put it out there. Don't ever ask to see my feet unless you're a podiatrist.
Fuck.
I cannot tell you how many times I've been asked by dudes I barely know, like, hey, can I see your feet?
That's a petite woman thing because no one's asked to see my big ass feet.
I would say this happens to me at least once a month. I'm also around like a lot of creepers just because of comedy and like audience members. You never know what kind of audience you're going to get. You know?
Should send them like Hobbit feet.
Oh my God.
You should send them like Lord of the Rings feet.
I should just send them pictures of like,
They'll jack off to it too. They don't care.
Yeah.
There's actually, if you Google celebrity feet, there's sites dedicated to feet of women.
Yeah.
Jamie Loftus always posts about her wiki feet.
She's made it. If you're on wiki feet, like
That's
you're a
awesome.
celebrity.
Does she have really pretty feet?
I don't know.
Okay,
she just has a wiki feet account.
Everyone has their preferences,
Cool. Next one. Don't get offended if I don't want to dance with you at the club. I don't know you.
Or talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I remember specifically there was like this one guy in New York. He just approached me. I was in the club dancing with my girlfriends. Like we're in like, breaking it down or whatever. And this guy comes out of nowhere. He's like trying to like grind up. I know you're laughing.
No, I'm just
we're breaking it down.
But I'm
Zaranti.
I am an auntie.
I know. Also just thinking,
thank you very much. I was breaking it down on the dance floor. Okay.
In your sneakers and your sari.
No,
not sneakers and a
I
sari.
was wearing stilettos. I was very sexy back then.
Very good. But I was also just thinking, like, when dudes approach us, sometimes we really we don't always want to fuck. Sometimes we go out to just dance, and so when dudes approach us, me and my girls were like, we're busy.
I know. I know.
We're like breaking. This is my workout.
Seriously. But all right, here's the thing. The guy. So I was like, I don't know what era this was. Maybe like David Guetta 2010. I don't know. But I was having like a blast with my girlfriends, and this guy comes out of nowhere and tries to like grind up behind me, and I'm like.
He snuck up on you.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, no thank you. I'm okay. And he's like, well, you weren't that hot anyway.
That's the worst.
Like, what?
That's the worst. Oh, it's your feelings were hurt that badly that I didn't want you to like rub your stranger dick on my butt.
I like how you just told us your standards are low and we should be insulted.
Yeah.
It's wrong on first of all, he's probably disgusting and you're beautiful and it's like wrong on so many levels, but also you're insulting yourself when you're like, I go for like not as pretty or whatever, not as attractive, whatever. Something, like it's
ridiculous.
Such a weird thing.
At least he didn't call you a 5. That's what you say
was
to
trying
piss
to laugh,
people
and then
off.
she couldn't, and then she did again. That was so funny. I also want to say I am a bigger woman. And I used to run interference for my small bitches because like the dudes are scary, and
You're not bigger. You're taller.
Yeah, but I know how to run defense. So I used to do that and like let them get mad at me. And dudes are always like, oh, there's always some like ugly bitch in the group that's always like ruining it. It's like, no, we know that our bitches are uncomfortable, and we are like helping you not get rejected directly. You're welcome. Like, there's a reason we're there. We're not out of it and are not in tune with our
There's
women.
definitely a girl code. But, I mean, I have been in these situations where my own girlfriends were cock blocking me. So I kind of had to, like, pull them aside. Like, listen.
Yeah.
This guy's okay.
Yeah.
Let him pass. Let him pass. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Was it after a heartbreak? Is that why? Or they just didn't want to, like...
I don't know. It's just
why were they
like...
cock blocking?
Some girls are like, all right, no guys are around near us, like, at all. Like, no boys. This is all about girls. It's girls' night. No guys. No guys allowed. Girls' night. And I'm like, well, if there's a cute one, like, you can pass. Like, let him pass.
Why so rigid?
And then it's like if one girl gets the cute guy, everybody hates her. Everybody hates her.
That's
you know?
so
So it's like, it's either like everybody gets a dude or nobody gets a dude.
That's dumb.
And then I'm like, this is fucked up. So...
I'm always trying to wingman because I'm trying to wingman and also like protect. Like I'm always running strategy on the team. But yeah.
Okay. This is a good one. Don't invite me over for leftover sushi.
Ew.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
She actually wrote "ew" on there.
Yeah, I wrote "ew."
That was our response.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
so funny.
Eat your sushi fresh. Okay, never invite a girl over for leftover sushi, like ever. I've gotten this invitation 3 separate times from 3 separate guys. No, it's
3
not.
times, maybe once.
But 3 separate guys. So I don't
serial
know.
killers.
Yeah, honestly,
3
maybe
feet lovers.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, if guys just eat your sushi the day you get it and never invite a girl over for leftover sushi. Okay, we're running low on time.
Leftover sushi?
Dude, I don't know. I don't understand, men. This is why I've created a guide for them.
Okay, we have to.
All right.
We're running out of time, and we're
Sorry,
running
guys.
out of card space. So we
Sorry,
have to,
guys.
Okay, I have segment.
No, this is number 5.
Sparkle, whatever. She said 5. Great,
5.
excellent. She
Trans
said the number.
rights.
Cinco.
Trans rights. Okay.
Segment trans rights.
In other bad news from me regarding politics and life, the Department of Health and Human Services recently sent out a memo the New York Times again found, and they're trying to establish the legal definition of what sex is under Title IX, which is a federal civil rights law that bans gender discrimination in programs that receive government funding. So basically, this memo from Health and Human Services from the government says that they want to adopt a uniform and explicit definition of gender, and as determined, quote, on a biological basis that is clear, grounded in science, objective, and administrable. And their definition is not scientific. Surprise! And they propose the definition to be sex means a person's status as male or female based on immutable biological traits identifiable by or before birth. And it also says the sex listed on a person's birth certificate as originally issued shall constitute definitive proof of a person's sex unless rebutted by reliable genetic evidence. They're trying to erase trans people and intersex people and people who don't identify as a cisgendered person from birth.
How is removing these rights a priority for government officials? Like, isn't there more important shit
They're
to do?
literally evil.
Did you forget what this administration is?
It's more of a rhetorical question.
Yeah,
I think we just need to not stop asking it.
Yeah.
1.4 million Americans will be affected because they are not the gender they were assigned at birth. And the government is calling on the big 4 agencies to enforce this, including the Department of Education, Justice, Health and Human Services, and Labor. So the definition of sex, scientifically, I looked at the Scientific American article from September 2017, is biological traits, while gender is defined as social identity. But many of us are hybrids on a male-female continuum in terms of biological traits. So the fact that they're trying to assign male-female, if regardless of what you feel about like trans people, it doesn't even work for intersex populations. So it doesn't, like, there are 1.7 previously thought to be 0.05%, but it's actually 1.7% of intersex people in the world, which I think might be more than Jewish people in the world. It's a huge part of our population. And you can't just assign gender based on outward genitalia because there's so much more involved.
When you say that there's biological traits that are on the continuum, what do you mean?
So intersex people, there are a number of different presenting phenotypes, so like physiological traits that define the group, the umbrella term intersex.
Yeah.
So for some people, they have testicular tissue and a vagina. Some people have ovaries and parts of a penis. The hormonal differences are huge. Like all of these things are
spectrum.
Like sex is a spectrum. Just because we view it as, you know, like what we see on the outside,
binary.
It's not binary.
Yeah.
Like biologically, it is not binary. So like, regardless of what you think on whether trans people should, like, who have a cisgender or cis sex traits at birth should or not switch, which they totally should if they want to. Doesn't make any sense. You're erasing trans people and intersex people, and you're using non-science to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Are there names of people who are spearheading this movement? Because I think it's important that we call them out.
Oh, hold on. I have a whole thing at the end that I'm really excited about. A statement that I liked was that a person that I found, yes, it's off of Planned Parenthood, but it's also a thing that I found in a lot of articles. And it says, like, a person with XX chromosomes usually has female sex and reproductive organs and is therefore usually assigned biologically female. But the important thing is that there are exceptions to all of these things. So, like, it's usually for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to reinforce that. But, okay, guys, it's the Department of Health and Human Services. And the person who is leading that is Secretary Alex M. Azar II. And just for your information, I'm just going to throw out that his email address is secretary@hhs.gov. That's secretary@hhs.gov. And the person, and he also has a phone number, which is 202-690-7000. So if you have a problem with this, call 202-690-7000.
I wish there was like a social media number or if there was like a social media account or like an actual mobile number or something where people can just send pictures of their genitalia.
You want
Tweet him. I'm sure he's on.
Like, I'm so send hand pictures.
Oh,
I see.
This is my gender.
Yeah.
You can do the good old dick pic through the email.
Yeah,
like
you can
it's
do
old
that.
school, you know.
Do that.
That's secretary@hhs.gov.
Yeah. I also want to make sure that in these times we support our trans friends and family. And if you want to donate, you can donate to the National Center for Transgender Equality. There are also intersex organizations and intersex youth organizations. And I'll probably put that together in our social media post for this when it comes out next week. But yeah, this is bullshit. Don't let people use science for evil or what they think of as science, which it's not. And yeah, we love and support all of our trans friends and family and listeners and everyone. And we are not going to stand by while this happens.
Yeah. Just another quick resource for anybody in the LGBTQ or any community. Trevor Project is a suicide hotline, and it is a great resource for, you know, I mean, this is tough. It's already a tough environment to be trans and intersex, almost impossible to be in some places. So to regress on people who are already just so marginalized is it's terrifying. And you know, it's if it happens to one group, no one's immune.
Yeah, and on the Trevor Project, what's best for these types of organizations is rather than a large donation at one time, if you have a recurring donation of like $5 a month, then they can plan their budgets better, and it's something that they can count on every month for the future. So that's what I do. Like, I donate to the Trevor Project and a few other things for human rights because it's literally whatever you can afford, $2, $4, $5, whatever you can afford that month. Like, just to give them some stability, because these organizations are definitely fighting the fights that we are having trouble thinking about with all of the devastation that's come with this administration.
Why is it preferable to give a an ongoing smaller sum rather than a large one? Is it tax related?
It's how they plan their budgets for like a lot of nonprofits. It's like allowing, I think it's like tax related, but it's also just like what they think that they can afford in the future. So recurring
it helps
ones,
with their forecasting.
Yes.
So if they have a monthly forecasting, if they know people that have like recurring monthly donations, they're able to forecast better and budget better.
Right. And then it also like, it's something that literally, I think John Oliver posted like 8 things that you should donate to after Trump was elected. And I've just been donating to them since then, because it's something that I don't have that much money, but it's not that much a month, honestly, but it's something that I feel like I'm at least giving back to every month. And that every time that pops up in my bank account, I'm like, oh yeah, we're still fighting. We still have things to think about. These are still issues. And I'll go like look up what they've been doing and like try to see like how you can support more and stuff. So yeah. That's my segment. My segment's all like
segment 5 complete.
Yeah. My segments are all like the government's breaking down.
Those are all the segments for this episode.
Wait, I have to say outro.
Oh, what's the outro?
I just said outro. Now you guys can do it. we just needed to know we were there.
What do we got? We have our shows and stuff.
Yeah. We will be at the New York Comedy Festival November 9th.
11:30 p.m.
11:30 p.m. That's Friday, November 9th, 11:30 p.m. at the New York Comedy Club.
Midtown Gramercy.
In Midtown/Gramercy. Be there and come check us out. And also we are still at the West Side Comedy Theater every second Sunday of the month, 9 p.m. in Santa Monica. Come out, support all the brown girl magic.
So that's November 11th for next month. And our last one was fucking dope.
Yeah, man.
So many people came out. It's a party.
It was wonderful.
Packed out. Look, you give us the energy, crowd. We'll give it to you back tenfold.
Yeah, so come out. Bring your friends. Bring your fans. Or our fans. I don't know. Just bring everybody. Bring your neighbor.
Fans. They can come. They can
bring
be
your
our
neighbor.
fans
Bring your parents. Just bring everybody. Just come, man. Just come to our shows because we love having you there.
The
Say
dogs
hi.
aren't allowed, but I'll try to get them in.
Okay, socials, huh?
Okay. They look at me.
Go ahead, follow me.
Okay. Our social media stuff. If you want to find all of our everything, it's on facialrecognitioncomedy.com. We actually just added a producer's page and a performer's page. So if you want to see like who we've booked in the past and who we plan to book in the future, you can check them out and all their like projects and stuff. We also are Facial Recognition Comedy on Facebook and Instagram, and Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter. If you want to see the videos from our podcast or see what merch we're about to come up with, because we work in, you can go to patreon.com/facial recognition comedy. I'm Pallavi Ganalan. That's PALLAVIGUNALAN. That's my website, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook.
And I'm Fizza Dasani. It is spelled FIZAADOSANI, and that is my handle on Twitter, Instagram. That's my website, fizzadasani.com, and I'm at The Fizza on Facebook.
And you can find me as Really Zara on all the social media. Zara is spelled ZAHRA. Please go follow me because I need followers. And I'm trying to be an aspiring Instagram model, so I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Also, rate and review our podcast and shit. We need to show people we're doing shit.
5 stars.
5 stars.
You know you love it. If you're in at this point, they
Only
love
4 or higher. Preferably 5.
5. We're brown.
Yeah.
We can't come back to our parents with 4 stars.
Oh my God.
That's a low beat.
We'd be very punished.
All right.
Very
Thanks,
punished.
everybody.
Thanks. Bye.